It's been an interesting experiment, but it's looking like the days of the diversity, inclusion, and equity officer at these major studios in Hollywood is kind of coming to an end, or at least I think the days are numbered. And I'm not just saying that because of the diversity people at the various studios being fired, but there's been some more news on that in recent days. But I will get to that in a little bit. But first, talking about this, major studios have been firing their diversity chiefs at their major studios. The biggest studio that actually do this, I think, is Disney, and this was from last June, where they actually fired their diversity officer pretty much unceremoniously. I mean, they were saying the split was amicable, but the way it went about the whole thing, I mean, you can tell it wasn't really the best of terms. And I think Disney is starting to realize that these type of people and making projects that are just trying to cater to various groups like this is ultimately hurting their whole image. And that's where we're getting things like this in recent days, with Lando writer plays race and gay card after being iced out by Lucasfilm. New report says he's been replaced by Donald and Stephen Glover. So that is the funniest part about this, is just the fact that he tried to play the race card when he was being replaced by a black man, because someone like him, Lando writer Justin Simeon, doesn't know anything else to do. All he knows is that he's a black man and a gay guy. So whenever something bad happens to him, he says, "Oh, it's because of these reasons," or maybe it's just because he's not qualified for the job. I mean, that's probably the most likely scenario. I mean, and I got more of that in a little bit, but going back into this article from Bounded into Comics. So Justin Simeon played both the race and gay card after he revealed Lucasfilm iced him out of the process on the previously announced Disney Plus series. Shortly after playing both of these cards, a new report detailed he was replaced by brothers Donald and Stephen Glover. So yeah, like I said, he was playing the race card when he was being replaced by a black guy because he has nothing else to do. And this project that they're talking about, the Lando Calrissian show for Disney Plus, is based off of the Lando Calrissian character from Solo, a Star Wars story. And I'm not saying the Lando Calrissian from George Lucas's Star Wars, because anyone who's been paying attention knows Disney Star Wars and the George Lucas Star Wars are completely different thing. I mean, they're just, I mean, yeah, they might be the same character or whatever. It's supposed to be the same character, but I mean, tonally, it pretty much like any characterization of them is completely different. And it's funny that they're actually making something based off of the Solo movie, considering it was kind of mediocre amongst critics and audiences, but even more notorious, it only made less than $400 million on a budget of $275 million. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, especially when you consider that this budget is actually underreported, because they basically had to reshoot most of the movie. I mean, it was probably closer to $350 million that they spent on it. So yeah, pretty bad. And then they're like, well, let's try to salvage something with this by making a show out of it. And could it work? Maybe, but I'm not holding out much hope considering the rest of the Star Wars shows. I mean, Mandalorian had the first couple seasons were okay, but the second season really was just, I don't know, a catalyst to try to introduce a lot of other spin-off shows, and those ones all seem to fail. So I have no reason to think that Lando won't fail as well. But going back into the whole subject, it was actually kind of funny the way they fired him, because he didn't actually get fired officially. He was basically asked about that on the red carpet recently for the Haunted Mansion, about what he's going to be doing with Lando or any status on that. And he said he didn't know. And then this came out when he was asked on social, or told on social media, that he's going to be fired. And this was his reaction to that. So yeah, he didn't even know he was fired off of the Lando project. He was basically told back in 2020 that he's going to be doing it, and nothing has really came through since then. And he didn't know what was going on. And then he finds out, like, oh yeah, it's because you're not working on it. And the reason he was at the red carpet event for the Haunted Mansion was because he was the director of the Haunted Mansion. And this is what they got so far: $33 million on a budget of around $150 million. Now, keep in mind, it's number 3 in the movie theaters right now. And this was just the opening weekend. But having an opening weekend this low on a budget that high kind of indicates that the movie is going to be a bomb, unless it just has incredible legs underneath it. I mean, and that might be the case, because from word of mouth, this movie is actually okay for fans of the Haunted Mansion attraction at the different parks. But the problem with it is, it does indicate that Disney is a damaged brand that people aren't really interested in giving the benefit of the doubt. And I think Disney sees that. So they're using this as almost like an excuse, where it's like, okay, we gave this guy a chance to direct something like this. He obviously failed at it. So then they're going to just fire him from something else, because these shows tend to cost like around $200 million. So they're not going to put him in charge of a show like that when he can't even handle a single movie. And a show is basically, I don't know, I mean, an 8 episode season or whatever. So like about 8 hours when they can't even handle an hour and a half project like this, or no, sorry, 2 hours and 3 minute project like this. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a fair shake and he just didn't pass it. And that's actually the problem with it is they gave him this chance because of the group he was involved or the groups he was in, being a black guy, being a gay guy, or at least that's what I'm thinking right now. And now they're coming to regret it. So they're just trying to backpedal on this. And now they're just kind of at the point where it's like, we can't just cater to these sort of things because by doing that, it has damaged our brand in the past. And now people just don't even want to give Disney the benefit of the doubt anymore. Like as before, people would just come out to see a Disney movie opening weekend because it was a Disney movie. Now you get something like this that's supposed to be decent and no one even wants to give them a chance. So Disney's trying to regenerate or kind of like regrow their image, becoming that family brand that anyone can trust. And it's not just mindlessly trying to push an agenda in front of them, or at least not doing it overtly, but maybe they're not actually doing this and they just fired him for other reasons. But the way they went about doing it with just complete disregard for his own, I don't know, his own feelings on the matter. I mean, and kind of going about it in a very untactful way by making him find out about it on social media just kind of goes to show that Disney is just out of any cares to give about this whole thing, and they think they just kind of want to go back to how things are. And I do have another video on the Haunted Mansion that I've made, so you can check that out too. I'll leave a description of it or I'll leave a link to it in the description below. And if you want to see more on my videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video if you actually liked it, and leave a comment below and let me know what you think about all this. Thank you.